April, an engineering manager at an OEM, has called a meeting with purchasing, engineering, and the design team. April explains that the design team and engineering have been working together to implement a multimodal, highly integrated user experience spanning the vehicle's cluster, head unit, and rear seat entertainment. She describes the engineering approach to use is a centralized hardware architecture to allow for a more cohesive user experience, also that they are approaching the time to engage with suppliers, so they need to communicate this cohesive user experience and the engineering intent behind it both internally as well as to their suppliers. James chimes in with the suggestion to use NNG's NBT Enterprise software for communicating and collaborating on their new vehicle user experience. James tells the team that NNG's NBT software has been specifically developed for the automotive industry and that it provides design, prototyping, collaboration, validation, and production-level management of the complete user experience. He explains that they can not only use this software tool to help them communicate their integrated design solution internally and get stakeholder sign-off, but they can use the secure cloud feature of NBT to distribute their design specifications to suppliers for quotation. Martin, from purchasing, sees that NNG's collaboration tools allow for two-way communication with suppliers and integration with third-party issue tracking and task management tools. Everyone in the meeting agrees this is a great idea to try and approve the approach. Although any file can be shared using the NBT application, James can also use the NBT Photoshop plugin to share his work with the team directly from within Adobe Photoshop to the NBT Asset Repository. The NBT system also has plugins for other tools his team uses, Illustrator, Sketch, and Maya. The plugin also allows James to add the files to a specific project, add a description, include metadata, and alert colleagues that the files have been added. While preparing the files with the NBT plugin, James selects to send Mary notification when the design files are ready so that she can begin developing a prototype of the new design. He also adds some notes to the file so that Mary gets the clearest understanding possible of his design intent. Mary uses NBT's design tool to turn James' Photoshop files into a multimodal user experience to illustrate how the cluster and head unit work together as an integrated system. She starts by importing the vehicle interior design and then integrating the user interface in context to the complete vehicle. This will allow the team to see how the different components will be oriented to work together as a unified experience. She then defines the locations for both the cluster and head unit. With these in place, she can insert the Photoshop files from within the design tools. The Photoshop files were parsed by the NBT plugin to extract the layer comps describing each of the UI screens. Dropping the parsed Photoshop files onto the head unit and cluster automatically creates a state for each layer comp in a workflow. Mary may then quickly create hotspots to simulate controls that change the state of the UI. She can create hotspots defined on the head unit, which change both the state of the head unit and the cluster. Mary can test the interactions and then share her results back to the team. Mary adds a quick description, associates the source files, and creates a task for James to review the prototype. April also gets the notification about the prototype because she was set up with a stakeholder role. She bookmarks the prototype so that she can find it later in her meeting. NBT's collaboration tools allow team members to sort, filter, and bookmark files, comments, and communication streams so they can easily access that information whenever they need it. This is important to April. She is often inundated with information, and being able to organize everything so that she can find it at a moment's notice makes her job easier. James receives the notification and task from Mary. From the notification on his computer, James can open the prototype and add comments. James sees some areas for improvement. He uses the links to the source files to open them in Photoshop. James updates some of the screens and adds a few more for the rear seat entertainment system. With the assets updated, he is able to instantly reopen the prototype and see his updates. The prototype recognized that the source files had updated and allows James to choose whether to view the prototype with the updated files or the original version. He chooses the former. Satisfied with his changes, James marks his task complete and sends Mary a task to incorporate the new rear seat entertainment screens to the prototype. Later that day, April has her meeting to review the prototype with the team. She opens the NBT Asset Repository Viewer and accesses the bookmark she made earlier. So the team can get a better sense of the user experience, April sends the head unit display to her Android tablet and then adjusts the view on her computer to make the cluster full screen. The team is impressed with the concept, and they like being able to see the interaction between the two devices. The OEM team feels they are ready to send the design package out for quote and receive some feedback from the Tier 1 suppliers. April adds the prototype to the RFQ stream of the asset repository. Using the secure cloud feature of NBT, they can distribute their new prototype and associated documentation to suppliers for quotation and feedback. To engage the Tier 1 suppliers, Martin adds Jill and Mike, each representing a different supplier, to the project using the NBT user management feature. He's able to set permissions for any user to control their access to files and communication with other users. This means that Jill and Mike can access the same files from the OEM, but not see the files and communication created by each other in the RFQ process, since they work for competing suppliers. During the development process, if the OEM desires, they can then use the NBT communication services to allow different suppliers to communicate with one another regarding the user experience of the complete vehicle interior design. Mike reviews the material from the OEM and the notes that April's team have submitted with the design. He has a suggestion for the system architecture design to be used on such an integrated product. He finds the specification, then adds it to the asset repository and associates it to the prototype. This way, anyone who views the prototype will have easy access to the system architecture specification. Mike's and Jill's questions and comments for the team, created through NBT, are filtered so that they get to the user who needs them, but don't distract or overwhelm those that don't. This ensures that the team can manage the influx of data, allowing for decisions to be made faster and more accurately. NNG's design tools alone are capable of solving specific design and engineering tasks. But combined with NNG's collaboration tools, they dramatically improve relationships between internal teams and suppliers, reducing time to market and improving quality. NNG is in the business of developing a creative and efficient ecosystem that allows designers, engineers, and leadership to develop complete user experiences from conception to production.